Hello again. I'm continuing to talk about the Dhammapada, which I've been doing for at least the last week, I think. And the section today that I'm going to say something about a few of their verses is punishment. I was a bit surprised actually that this section is called punishment. It's a strong word, but also it's a word that we usually associate with retribution towards ourselves from somebody else. And this section is really about the effect of karma, the effect of the consequences of our own actions upon ourselves. So, actually, punishment simply means retribution for wrongdoing. So, we punish ourselves just as much as anybody else could punish us. So, anyway, that's what the section is called. And the second verse is this: all men fear pain and death. All men love life. Remembering that he is one of them, let a man neither strike nor kill. All men fear pain and death. All men love life. Remembering that he is one of them, let a man neither strike nor kill. So, this is a very important verse because it's about our lack of identification with other people's suffering. And really, the lack of identification that we have with other people is the cause of, so much misery, so much suffering, not just for others, but for ourselves. So what's happening here? Well, in a way, our whole life is one of selfing. That's what we're doing all the time. We are promoting ourselves, we're protecting ourselves, we're cherishing ourselves in a way that excludes other people. Of course, it includes other people, but even that is very often to do with this process that's going on all the time in our being of selfing. So, it doesn't mean that we're not kind and loving to other people, but we're very particular. We choose. We're choosing all the time. We're assessing all the time. We're comparing all the time. One of the things that goes on in us all the time is judging, making comparisons and judging. And this means that it's like we've set ourselves apart. It's like everything outside ourselves is other than me, and other than mine, and other than I. And so it's like there's a barrier around ourselves that is judging all the time, and that creates a sense of separation from self and other. And when I say other, I mean other people, but also the world around us. So this is a fascinating truth that as Buddhists we explore all the time. What is the way that I'm separating myself from others? So, remembering, being aware that we are a human being, and being aware of all our wants, all our desires, all our aversions. If we feel that, how come we don't realise that it's exactly the same for everybody else? It's not just similar, it's exactly the same. Everybody wants to live, everybody wants to be happy, everybody wants to have pleasant times, everyone wants joy and so on. And they want it just as much as we do. It sounds so daft to say it, doesn't it? Because you're probably saying, yeah, well, of course we do. But we don't act in the world as if that's true. You know, we can have prejudice about the least little thing, the tiniest little thing. You know, maybe we don't like somebody's haircut. Maybe we don't like the fact that they don't smile at us. Maybe we don't like the fact that they talk rather loud. Whatever it is, it can be the slightest thing. And, you know, even if our response isn't gross, it's there, it's tucked down. You know, it's a little tightening within us, or more grossly, it's us walking out the door and ignoring that person, whatever it is. So this is what, you know, this is where we bring mindfulness and metta to our experience. So we need enough mindfulness that we know what's going on, that we're aware. We needn't be ashamed of the fact that we find out, actually, yes, you know, we've got all these preferences and prejudices that are going on instantaneously. But if we can bring enough awareness, if we can be mindful of what's actually going on in our mind and in our heart, so as you know, the word for heart and mind in Buddhism is chitta, heart and mind. You know, they act really closely together. So we have a thought and there's a feeling that goes alongside it. So if we can get to know our deepest prejudices, the tightening that goes on in us, the rejection, the ignoring, because that's what the metta bhavana is all about, isn't it? We see how we dismiss so easily, ignore so easily. In other words, you know, our mind and our heart is closed off. And, you know, we're incredibly selfish. But it takes awareness to know that. So, you know, a lot of people on the surface, you know, they might not seem very selfish. But if you really look inside yourself at what goes on, at all your preferences, at all your aversions, at the way that we are not equanimous most of the time. You know, we're not in a relaxed, equanimous state that is really open-minded, that has an open mind and heart that receives and sees. That's what we're aiming for, really. And that's why, you know, in Triratna, we put so much emphasis on the practice of the metta bhavana. It's a really important practice because it breaks down those barriers. But also with mindfulness, it helps us see what our relationship really is to other people. You know, it's all very well enjoying the second stage where we bring to mind our friend. Great, you know, we can think about our friend with an open heart and rejoice in her good qualities. But even in that second stage, it's often quite selfish. You know, we love our friend, maybe because, you know, they're very good to us. They always ring us up, you know. They're very welcoming. They praise us and we have a good time with them. It's easy to have a good time with them. So, you know, even that has got its selfish aspect. But, you know, when we come to the neutral person, it's like often we can't be bothered. You know, our mind just drifts off. We don't want to spend time thinking about this person we don't know. So it's a lack of identification. It's a lack of really seeing them for who they are and seeing that they have all the same needs and all the same wants that we have. And, you know, when we come to that fourth stage, just got I'm looking outside and I've just seen there are a lot of baby birds around at the moment. It's very distracting because they're so cute. And that was a baby goldfinch. Yeah, so, really this lack of identification with others is, it's sad. We're learning all the time to be open and to really see other people, and we're only going to do that if we really know what's going on in our mind, not with shame, not with feeling guilty about it. So the longer I've practiced as a Buddhist, the more I've allowed myself to see those dark sides of myself that actually are very selfish, incredibly selfish. I never used to think they were, but I only realise now because I see them clearly. I see really clearly the barriers that I create between myself and other people. And if we see it, we can do something about it. Because actually, there is positive shame. There's that feeling of, oh, yeah, I can think like that. I really can. I am capable of thinking like that. Not just other people, but I'm capable of that too. And believe it or not, it's very liberating. It's actually great. When I see something about myself that I haven't seen before, I sometimes laugh. But there is a sense of positive shame in that it's like, I've seen it now. I can't pretend I don't know it. So it's great when we see those darker sides of ourselves, because it releases something. It's a freedom. It's a freedom to act, and it's a freedom to act differently. So yeah, that's a bit of a ramble about just one verse, but actually these are the things that we really need to think about. Okay, that's enough for now. Bye.